I'm next in line. Watch out, watch out. Excuse me. I'm next in line.
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Will's Review. I'm your host, Will D. And this week, we have a very interesting week because one of my most favorite events of the year happened last Sunday after my show. So we're going to have to work our way back from today back to last Sunday. But real quick, something that happened this week in sports. There's a lot of discussion right now about Naomi Osaka, who kind of came into fame in the world of tennis when she beat Serena Williams for a Grand Slam title. So she has reached the age of 21, where in Japan, that is the age where you have to decide if you're a dual citizen, if you're going to be Japanese or whatever else. Now, here's my thing. Japan, considering that her other citizenship is the U.S., I wouldn't even try and put pressure on her, maybe give her an exemption. I mean, the fact of the matter is simply this, right? This girl is a world tennis champion. She can claim U.S. status, which allows her a lot more benefits than if she's just solely Japanese. And considering that, well, you guys don't really have a lot of numbers on your side these days, take what you can get. I mean, her last name is Osaka. Even if she chooses to be American, she's still Japanese. Osaka! Like, come on now. Like, relax yourself. I love you, Japan. I'd be a wholly different person if you weren't you, but, like, let it rock. I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is, even with the last name Osaka, girl got too much color not to be black. So, let's just call it what it is and let it rock. Let it rock. All right. The other thing in sports is WrestleMania, so we're gonna get back to that, and we're gonna hop into something random in science, where the first images of a black hole were actually captured recently, and this happened this past Wednesday. Now, why I bring this up is that black holes have been something that people have known about or thought about. It seemed mostly like science fiction theory. We're not talking about wormholes and all that, but an actual black hole that absorbs and, you know, sucks up from a destroyed star. And they finally caught a glimmer of it. And although it's all-encompassing blackness inside, essentially there's a ring of fire around it. So it looks like an eclipse naturally on its own. So, you know, I like really random sciencey stuff now and again. I just thought that that'd be something to share with you. So, like, if you're interested, you know, like, catch the image of it. You know, it's really cool just to think that we've gotten that far, that we've literally seen a black hole and weren't killed by it. Just putting that out there too, because black holes, they're not a good thing. They're not good at all for life. It's kind of like the absence of is black hole, right? It looks like an eclipse, right? Exactly. So on this note, we're gonna go to our first commercial break. When we come back, a little local news, but we are going to get into our sports.
2019 dinero.
Dame dinero, dinero. Quiero dinero, dinero. Vivo solo por dinero.
Michael Beltran with Make 'Em Dance.
Vámonos en un viaje. Hoy quiero verte por verme así, con tantas dudas en por descubrir.
Nominees in the Latin category. Here are the 20 pop with Trap Selena.
Hustle hard, put in work each and every day. Said I don't see ya. Pockets deeper. The Trap Selena. I'm the Trap Selena. The Trap Selena.
Little Deuces with Crunch Time.
Yeah. I'm about to spit on this beat, so best believe I'm gonna beat the
king of this league. NJ is my city. I rep that. Barely even know haters flood this town.
Richard Picasso with no freedom.
Jack on a tombstone, yeah, the grave slick. Brought to the native lands, no free will. Gears running on our base, they don't know how we feel. 500 years we persevere, and I still don't think now the worst is here because we're black. And because my skin won't crack, milk and white women's faces, we've been low back, Jack.
Pyre the arsonist with good chick.
The love that you see in me. Cause you're a good chick, a thick chick, a freak like me.
Barbie's girl, no doubt. I don't ever gotta check my bank account. All I need is a woman that's down for.
And these were the 2019 LDM Independent Music nominees in the hip hop category.
And back. So, a couple things I wanted to get to before our WrestleMania chat. Game of Thrones comes back tonight, right? Like, just that has been too many days of waiting. You know, it's the final season. We're looking at 90-minute episodes now. I think it's going to be six 90-minute episodes, either 6 or 8 90-minute episodes. They've been posting about it for the past year. You know, wrapping up the production, this and the third. We've seen a couple of actors already move on to new projects. But this is the beginning of the end, folks. The dragons are here. Winter has come. War is upon us. And it's like, well, dear God, it's about goddamn time. So, folks, I'm all for it. It's a 5 out of 5 show. Game of Thrones. Watch it. Enjoy it. It begins tonight. Other than that, from something good to something funny, Trump declares himself the only person who controls immigration. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm leaving it at that. He's officially declared that I am the person in control of immigration, the only person in control of immigration. I love it. I love it. He's so stupid. I love it. I'm just gonna leave that out there. We're not gonna get into this. No back and forth about it. I think we talk about Trump enough. But that has been a declaration he's made in this past week. Enjoy that. Enjoy the stupidity of the statement. Please enjoy that. Something local has been happening. A lot of teachers actually went to rally the other day. They are against computerized standardized tests. There was found to be a glitch this time around in the reading portion of students' tests, and teachers are now upset that they are doing computerized testing at all because this isn't the first error, and computerized testing can be tampered with because we all know everything that's cyber can be tampered with. And what ends up happening is that when students end up having poor scores, there's less funding. So teachers realize that the money that they receive, the jobs that are going to be available, and the education that the students will be able to actually have will be underfunded. Everything will be underfunded if these glitches go against the test scores. Now, at the same time, if y'all are teachers and y'all have some nerds in your classes, somebody needs to figure out how to hack the system and give everybody A's so that way we realize, hey, it's worth giving these children education. Just saying. But in the meantime, if there is a negative effect, why don't just go back to paper and pencil? Why are you guys so freaking lazy? Like, why do we need computerized standardized testing for like 6, 7, 8 teams? It doesn't matter. They're students. It's irrelevant. Like, stop. I know I'm annoyed when I have to do those stupid tests if you're trying to get a city job, let alone if I'm just trying to, like, go to school on a Tuesday, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm already sleepy. I'm nervous because I have to take the stupid tests. And now they're buttons and screens, and it's not familiar. It's not fun. It's annoying. But also, I want to take this moment to laugh at Brooklyn because, well, besides it being Burger King, it is considered so dirty in Williamsburg because of all the hipsters and whatnot, and there's a major measles outbreak. I was talking about the measles in Brooklyn since August. This thing is still going on. They're so dirty, these dirty hippies, that the city had to mandate vaccinations in Williamsburg. Williamsburg, you are so dirty, they had to vaccinate you like a puppy. Dirty Brooklyn. I can say that as a proud Bronxian. Dirty Brooklyn. But how do you have measles since August? Like, such a big case of it since August. We're more than 6 months down the road. Y'all still have the measles like that? Like, wasn't this something that we cured back in, like, the 1800s? And y'all so dirty, y'all still got it to the point where you need to be vaccinated, a mandated vaccination by the mayor in April of the next year? Dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. And I enjoy it. That's why I stay out of Brooklyn. But yeah, just had I need to get that out my system. I love making fun of Brooklyn. It's just what I do. Other thing, Chris Angel is coming to New York soon. Chris Angel, Mind Freak, Super Magician. Last week we were talking about David Blaine and his sex scandal. Well, Chris Angel didn't have a sex scandal, and now he's coming to New York, going to do his show on Broadway. So look forward to that. It is soon coming. I know one thing happening in New York too that I've seen a lot of people are actually finally going to see Hudson Yards. So yay, you guys are taking advice. I'm seeing it all over Instagram and Facebook. People taking pictures over. I think I probably will try and take a trip myself on Monday. So if there's anything I find worth selfieing, I might just do it. And you get to see me there, so that way I'm a man of my word. You know. But something to do. I mean, it's about that time of year. The weather's getting warm. We had a California winter day today, and it's about that time I start to take my stroll through that nice long walkway from 34th Street down to 13th. So I'll probably stop by and take a look. Also, shout out to Minnesota, of all the most random states. But Minnesota arrested 53 people in a sex sting, essentially. It's a lot of S sounds, and it's messing me up because I'm cloggy from allergies. But they caught 53 people trying to elicit sex from minors. So shout out to Minnesota for getting. On a similar note, a man was just arrested for going around. He hacked the system to find out all different sex offenders and rapists, and went around and beat the crap out of those people. Now, he got arrested for this, but shout out to you for doing your Batman work. Like, he went on straight vigilante. He's like, you know what? I'm going to break into the system and just, like, beat people up who deserve it. Yeah, why is he getting time? I don't understand this. Oh, because he hacked the system. All right, fine, whatever. But, you know, Batman did it, so I think it's cool. Batman did it. And then another sense of natural justice. So we have two things going on, right? Over in Kenya, we have the prime minister saying, like, hey, you poach, you die, which I love, right? I think every African nation should have this policy. You get caught poaching, you die. In fact, not just Africa, because there's a lot of you know, wildlife that's, you know, being extinct in Asia as well. So every Asian nation with wildlife that is going extinct, every African nation, you need to make this a law. You poach, you die. Right? But without the head of state in Kenya doing this, it seems like nature is taking care of itself, where a poacher was trying to get an elephant killed him. Not only did the elephant, like, kill him, but the lions came and was like, oh, you give us meal, and ate his body. So, nature defending itself. We need more of this too. Lions, elephants, roar. Roar. Good job. But yeah. Catch them and throw them in the lions. I think so. You got random people just falling in this stuff. You might as well just give them. True, it would. If we just threw a bunch of poachers in the Bronx Zoo, that's all the meals you need. Except for maybe the dolphins. They don't eat people like that. Oh, I love dolphins. You know what? On that note, we're going to go to our next break. When we come back, we're going to talk some WWE, because I've been dying to talk about WrestleMania weekend.
Here are the 2019 LDM Independent Music nominees in the pop category. Shade Dream with Money Time.
This is money time. Get your money, girl. Hey, 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 big money, big.
Jesse Vega with He'll Never Be Me.
Never be me. He'll never be me. He'll never be me. He'll never be me.
Virgo G with Island
On the
Vibes.
beach, it's you and me. Island hopping, sipping drinks on a low hard tree. The sun is blazing, no complaining. We just here for the island breeze. On the island, on the beach, it's you and me.
John KT with Better Man.
Set the example for me. Make me a better man. You see, life's got you down now.
These were the 2019 LDM Independent Music nominees in the pop category.
All right. So, WrestleMania weekend didn't start on the Sunday. It starts always NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, right? Takeovers have been better than every main roster pay-per-view for like the past two years, I would say. And this is the first time that I feel that TakeOver fell short to even, I mean, at least it was WrestleMania of all the pay-per-views, but like, yeah, it fell short this time around. Now, let me explain. You have your first match as a tag team match, right? Between two of our favorite wrestlers in NXT on the main roster, Ricochet and Aleister Black, and they're going against the War Raiders. And the War Raiders, to me, are a big hit indie team that made it just too far, because they kind of fell short for me as a great act. You have one guy who just makes a whole bunch of noise and does cartwheels and then finally hits you, and another guy who can actually like fight. I've been really lackluster on War Raiders the last year. They've been in NXT. There wasn't really a big fan of them on the indie circuit. This is the first match where I felt the War Raiders deserved to be where they're at. They deserve their championship. They deserve to be in NXT. They deserve to be any part of WWE. At the same time, Ricochet and Aleister Black put on one hell of a show. This was the match that if it had ended NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, I think may have made it, like just the order of things would have just made it, the show, that much brighter, where it could have really competed against WrestleMania this year. But I feel like the main WrestleMania also miscalculated its casting of events. But this match was so good. This match was absolutely perfect, minus the fact that War Raiders won. But I get it. The other two are moving on to bigger and better things on the main roster and are actually being used well. I was surprised they made them a tag team, but as a tag team, they have more opportunity in the WWE main roster instead of solo wrestlers. So I'm glad that they're going to be doing that. I see Aleister Black becoming a new Seth Rollins as far as like fan favoritism. Then the Velveteen Dream had his match. His match was so bad. It was him and Matt Ridley, and Ridley's been on a big hype since he came in. He's just like another MMA guy going in the ring, and they try to blow him up. But his match with Velveteen Dream was so boring. Like, he's beating the crap out of Velveteen. Velveteen gets a random move here and there, sneaks a win. I'm not ruining anything for you. It's been a week. It's on Hulu. You can watch it. And it just felt weak. But Velveteen won, so I can't complain too much. The Fatal 4-Way for the Women's Championship also fell short. Everybody that I'm speaking to was tired of seeing Baszler at NXT. Even against her as that, it's just that NXT's women division fell really, really flat after a lot of their women got drafted to the main roster. Shayna Baszler is a good wrestler. A lot of the characters like Kairi Sane have a lot of gimmick, but their moveset is meh. The reason they're still stuck on NXT. I feel like Bianca Belair should have won that match, should have become a champion, or even Io Shirai. Both of them have a nice set of moves. Both of them have a power game and air game. Both of them have a lot of agility and speed, and they have a gimmick. So they have everything you need for someone to be champion, lead a roster. I think what NXT needs right now is a new champion, be it Shirai or be it Belair, because I don't think there's anyone else on the roster who can hold the title rightfully. And I think that they also need the Mae Young Classic to build in and take up a new set of women, because they're kind of falling flat right now. Even Johnny Gargano's wife is a bit meh. All right. And I say that with Johnny Gargano now being the new NXT champion, who has deserved it for so goddamn long. Thank God. Now, don't get me wrong. I would have been happy either way. I love the Undisputed Era. I think, Adam Cole is charismatic. Simple moveset. Very dangerous. Beats people with super kick. Very Shawn Michaels. Dig it. Love it. It's great. But Gargano's been busting his butt. He's been a champion contender for a year and a half. Injury, came back, beating people up, had some of the best storylines in NXT in the last 2 years. Like, bro, he deserved it. I figured they were going to give it to him anyway against Tommaso Ciampa, but it was really nice to see him win it this way against some bad guys, so he gets to be a good guy, because he was doing another heel turn, by the way. He gets to stay a good guy. and to have Ciampa come back and be like, I'm happy you're the guy to get it after me. Because in all honesty, I thought Gargano should have got over Ciampa a while ago, and then Ciampa turned out to be a hell of a battling champion, and I think Ciampa's match versus Velveteen at the last NXT TakeOver before this was one of the best matches NXT's had in a very long time, surprisingly, because I wasn't a big Ciampa fan, and Gargano, thank God, finally got what he deserved. So congrats to him. Congrats to all the champions in NXT right now. Like, y'all did what y'all needed to do. But Baszler needs to move up, and someone new needs to take over and develop that women's division just a bit more. Because a lot of their best they moved up already. But to WrestleMania itself. So WrestleMania's only big flaw to me this year was the fact that the women's championship was the ending of it. And not because it was the women's champion was the ending of it, is that I understand the booking, right? The Charlotte, Rousey, Becky, feud has been going on for at least 6 months to a year. In some way, shape, or form, right? The actual three-way feud has been about 6 months. SummerSlam, if I'm not mistaken, right? But the back and forth between Becky and Rousey and Charlotte, that's been going on for a long time in one way or another. And so for that to be booked as the finale makes sense. But one thing they didn't expect when booking WrestleMania and planning WrestleMania was Mustafa Ali getting hurt. And when Mustafa Ali got hurt, it built the way for Kofi Kingston. So, let's work our way through Mania, right? We start off with a bunch of championship turnovers where you have the Cruiserweight Championship swing sides to Tony Nese, who, has been on a crazy winning streak recently. I think he's shown himself to be a better performer this past year, so him being the new champion, deserved. Murphy deserved his championship, and I'm glad he's no longer forgotten. He was a forgotten superstar for a while when his tag team broke up, and, Alexa Bliss blew up as a women's champion solo. Him and his partner. His partner now is in NXT, but he got to be a Cruiserweight champion. Hopefully the main roster will pick him up and do something with him. He's a very talented wrestler. I was glad to see his return, and I thought his tag team, honestly, didn't get enough shine when because they were a bad guy gimmicky group that won by cheating. Excellent wrestler. He deserves a shot. But I'm glad Tony Nese is a new champion. The Cruiserweight division is something that also needs to be filled up with new stock. I like the wrestlers, but I'm tired of seeing the same matches. Point blank, period. We got new tag team champions for the Raw Championship, right? We got three New Yorkers winning the first two matches with Zack Ryder and his partner taking it back for Long Island. No, they were a tag team years ago. But they came back together. They broke the Homeboys losing streak, and they won the titles from the Revival, who were getting stale as champions. I wish the Revival had lost to Ricochet and Aleister Black, and even if Zack Ryder and them still won, those two at least being champions for the freaking week and a half, would have been amusing. Because I was tired of the Revival. Not to, nothing against them. They're very entertaining, but their champion in WWE didn't give them a lot of mic time. So it made them just kind of seem like meh wrestlers doing their thing. The AEW is probably the right for them, which I wouldn't say too often, but I will say for them. Then after you have these matches, you got a couple of these big battle royale rumble. I mean, we knew Braun Strowman was gonna win. They built up such nonsense, right? I would love to have seen that match. I would have loved to see that match between those guys, but Aleister Black, Ricochet. This one was good. It was a good, solid. They the right team won. But I want to get to the battle royale. So you have the battle royales. You have Braun Strowman doing his thing, right? And I think he set a new record for number of people eliminated over the rope, right? But you knew he was gonna win. Michael Che and whatever the hosts are now in the match and yada yada. Very gimmicky. He beats them. Boom. Whatever. What killed me was the week before WrestleMania, you kind of take Asuka's championship. Like, really? Well, she's trying to get a WrestleMania match. You take away her championship. Okay. Valid. Asuka didn't have much of a storyline going at this time, right? She's just been beating people up with her gold. Okay. They tried the Mandy Rose thing, whatever. It wasn't taking off the way that it should have. Because Asuka, I mean, nobody's ready for Asuka. It still doesn't make sense that Charlotte Flair beat her when she did, right? But then you take her out of that, put her into the new, Battle Royale situation, and Carmella wins the Battle Royale? Believe me, I love Carmella. I do. Fake boobs and all. Love Carmella. But where'd that come from? Like, Carmella with the most random wins ever, but always in the same way. Ducking off someone on the side when nobody noticed her, come back in, beat him. Like, that's what Carmella does. At this point, if you are a female wrestler and Carmella's in your match, I don't know how you're not looking over your shoulder last second. Like, I just don't. That's how she wins everything, every time. But it was entertaining. Not too many botches, but it is what it is. We saw Batista, failing again to get into the ring properly. And him and Triple H had that matchup. I know they tried to build it up last second and whatever. I really didn't care at this point. You're both too damn old. Like, Triple H, you need to retire. You still look good, wrong, but you retire. Like, we don't need you to be the statement that WWE is better than this WWE. You get it? Game, son. Now let the game end. Game time over. You need to relax, stick to the suit and tie, fill out some books. Still look good for Stephanie because she deserves it. But that's it. That's all you got to do. That's it. But the big matches, right? Seth Rollins taking down Lesnar with some stomps. The best part was that this is the opening match, right? Brock Lesnar's just like, look, if I'm not going to be the ending of the show, I'm going to get the beginning of it, right? So he comes in all like, I'm Lesnar, you whack, F5, everything. Stomp, 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 the end, and loses. Like, that's it. You came in, you F5 the kid, couldn't take him out. 3 stomps. 3, not 1, not 2, but 3. 3 times you could have been knocked out. He knocked you out to knock you back into sense. Knock you out to back into sense. To knock you out and take your title. That's how you do it. You stomp a fool out. You fight in the street, stomp him out. You fight in the ring, stomp him out. That's Rollins' everything. This dude just came in and did what he had to do. A championship that he'd been long deserved. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And the best part was it was quick. This wasn't an hour-long fight that it could have been. It wasn't a bunch of botched moves, this, that, and the other. No. They got in, they got it done, and it was entertaining at the same time. Like, you have to add in the entertainment factor, right? It wasn't a quick match where you're just like, holy crap. No, this was a good fight, really quick, well done, new champion. I'm very happy. The only botch of the night is really the booking. The booking was it. Because Becky Lynch walks in, no championship, walks out, 2 championships. Loved it, right? I was talking with Charles about this last week, and I was just like, yo, I need Becky Lynch to get that title. Because, one, Becky's one of my top 3. I love her. She's just amazing, gorgeous, everything. And then I hate Charlotte, and I hate... How did Ronda Rousey come in day 1 and take a title from Nia Jax, like, immediately? Screw that. Because you know damn well if they got in a real fight and Ronda was trying to put her in an armbar or some joint, Nia Jax would just roll over and suffocate her. I mean, let's just be real. She's strong and she's big. She just sit on you. The end. There's a reason why there's weight classes in MMA. You can't cut it, Ronda. So, now she don't got the title. Becky has both titles. And it was just awkward how it ended, right? Into the roll-up pin nonsense. I mean, it sounds like it was botched. It looked like it could have been botched. It was just awkward how it happened. But Becky wins. But I don't know how you even go into that match. No, I don't know how you go into that match. Like, why was there even more to WrestleMania? After Kofi Kingston wins the championship. I mean, the match itself, I can't say was extraordinary, right? It was a good, solid match between 2 great opponents. I mean, Daniel Bryan is a champion fans have loved for years. Kofi Kingston is a former champion. It was good. It was great. I loved even Daniel Bryan being his super vegan warrior nonsense because we all know we hate vegans. The vegans are a-holes. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're even vegan. It's like, it just seems like vegans feel like they're better than people and then have the nerve to talk to people like they are. So Daniel Bryan did the perfect representation of this. And Kofi Kingston beat him. So why is this moment so great to me? I'm going to break this down. Kofi Kingston has been in the WWE for over a decade. Kofi Kingston has won United States Championships, Intercontinental Championships, Tag Team Championships, If there was a cruiserweight division, he probably would have won that damn championship too. Like, Kofi Kingston has won everything but a major heavyweight title. He's never really had a singles opportunity at a major heavyweight title. He's been in some elimination chambers. He's been in some, three-way, four-way matches, but no one-on-one title opportunities. And most of his opportunities at the heavyweight title was only because he was a United States or Intercontinental champion. So they wanted to make it interesting, right? Could he be a dual champion? It was a gimmick. This man has deserved to be champion since 2013, right? He is one of the people to change ladder matches. He's one of the few black guys to really be a high flyer and an in-game, in-ring ground champion. Oh, Kofi Kingston in the Royal Rumble is a whole nother story. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the few men who's not a big man to take out a lot of people, do some crazy stuff off the rope, get out the ring, come back in the ring. All of the he's just been a all-star entertainer for the last 11 years. From the moment that Kofi came into WWE, rocking that music, all that energy, the big smile, you knew he was a fan favorite, an instant classic right off the rip. He has never, ever disappointed me in the ring. And then on top of that, this is the first time at WrestleMania, right? You have a black man win the World Heavyweight Champion. Last year, we got to see our boy win the Cruiserweight Championship, right? Nah, this guy is now the name, the face of the league. He didn't win the Universal title from Raw. He didn't win the one that doesn't have the name. No, he won the WWE Championship. The one with the name of the company on it. The championship of the company. So shout out to you, brother, for getting yours finally. For getting it too and not having the teammates turn on you. Not like an Evolution win where, Randy Orton gets it and now the rest of the team's mad at him. Batista gets the rest. No, he won it. And all the black people, all the black WWE, all of the black WWE universe, we get to celebrate this moment. The next night, he even goes and has the ball to challenge for the other championship, to become the first black undisputed champion after The Rock did it years ago. Right? But, they like to mess that part up, and both our Seth and our Kofi don't lose their titles, so it was all good. But, this all this hype, all week has been so great to finally see, and it's not just the black guy. It's the fact that it's Kofi Kingston of all the black representation that we have. I mean, the guy has his two sons come to the ring, his absolutely gorgeous wife, and it was a really good, wholesome moment for black people everywhere, especially if you've been a wrestling fan for years. It's so great to see those guys. And in all honesty, those three men were this close to losing their careers before they formed that team. So to see that the culmination over the years where they become fan favorites, multiple, I believe it's 5, right? 5-time tag team champions, right?
And feel the power.
Feel the power, right? I like
the storyline, how they built it up. Trying to show people that he's not.
Yeah, and that was the best part. So, Charles brings up the fact that this entire storyline is built apart that he wasn't good enough to be the champion. That the reason they've always screwed him over is because he was never good enough. Kofi Kingston has deserved this title for years, and I'm so happy to see him, of all the black representation it could be, but him particularly, because he's put in the work, he's put in the effort, he has the moveset, he has the skills, and we all love him. He's clearly the leader of the New Day. Not the mouth, but the leader, right? And for him to be, we are a team, I'm taking our titles. I would love to see the New Day become tag team champions again, even if it's only brief. And I would love for them to get a chance to become bad guys. Because I love what the New Day is bad guys. Because now they're such fan favorites at the time that whenever they're bad guys, we still love them. So I want them to get a heel turn, a domination thing. They're starting to cheat, lie, and steal again. It'd be great. So shout out to Kofi Kingston. Thank you, WWE. It was a great weekend. And but in all honesty, next time give the black man the final, give him the spotlight. All I'm saying. So we have a few minutes left, Charles. Good. So we're going to go to our commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do our big movie talk and our fans of the week, all right?
The 29th LDM Independent Music Award Country Music nominees, Sister Sister, with Another Fast Love. Glenda Peters, Let Me Be Whole.
My dreams of stardom has got me down. The search is over, an empty crown, but there is one.
Henri Picerno, with Discount Tobacco and Beer.
Discount tobacco and beer. Discount tobacco and beer. Discount tobacco and beer. Discount tobacco.
Catherine Shipley, with God Gave Me All I Need.
So if you pass me on the street, don't shed a tear for me. God gave me all I need.
And these were the 2019 LDM Independent Music Award Country Music nominees.
Alright, so before we move on completely, Charles did bring up that I missed a match, and that's the Miz versus Shane McMahon. And pretty much, I wasn't too big on this match in the first place, and the way that it ended was such a, like, well, I guess. I mean, I love Shane, I love Miz. I don't like Miz being good either, you know. I like him being bad, I like him being the a-hole, but, I mean, I guess. You know, it wasn't a bad match, it was just kind of like, really? So he's just on top of him, and so he wins. And now he's going around, I'm still the best in the world. And Miz did all the work to get that title. Like, I don't know. Their storyline to me is a bit over the top, bringing the father in, that's in the third. It's something that they do often, so it kind of didn't hit home the same way. That's why I completely forgot about it. But yeah. Rey Mysterio losing to Samoa Joe. I forgot that was a thing too. That happened in like, what, 6 seconds? Yeah, true. Mysterio was hurt. But also, Samoa Joe's someone that the fans wanted to be champion for a while. And the thing about it is that Samoa Joe hasn't been champion because he accidentally hurts people all the time. So now that he has a title, they try to give him an easy match. Like, that was it. And they didn't want him to injure anybody at WrestleMania, but they only needed to give him his moment. So he got his moment, and now they're going to give him a good opponent. Samoa versus Braun Strowman. What do you think? I'd love to see it. Oh, the guy from NXT. Yeah, he's there. He was the NXT Strowman. Yeah, I would. That could be an interesting setup. I'm waiting for him to fight Strowman to see who's the bigger of the freaks. But yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of potential happening in the WWE right now, especially with the shakeup coming up. So we're gonna see what happens in WWE. We're gonna talk a little bit about the shakeup next Sunday as they're gonna go through that process Monday and Tuesday this week. But yeah, so we're gonna move on to my favorite part of the show because I just like talking about my fans sometimes. So first and foremost, our first fan of the week is Eddie Lane from the Will's Review page, and she's been following the page for quite some time. Been close to becoming fan of the week a few times, and it's the first time that she actually wins it. So shout out to her. Then after Eddie Lane, we have George. Might mess this up. McIver? I don't know. I'm terrible. McIver, right? I'm terrible with last names, people, unless it's like Asian, which is messed up, but I mean, true. So he's been a recent follower of the page and was pretty active this last week, so thank you. And then last but not least from Instagram, Gabby wins it again. So the makeup queen herself was our friend of the week from Instagram. So shout out to all three of y'all. Thank you very much. And we will start our new game season tomorrow, probably. Not tonight, tomorrow. And you know how long it takes me to post all those damn things? I mean, in all honesty, anyone on the Instagram already knows what it is. Like, I literally go through and post about 100, 200 pictures every time I do it, right? About 100 to 200. Like, I don't know if you know any other page that has 16,000 posts on it, right? Except for mine. You know, not 16,000 fans, 16,000 posts. But yeah, it gets that serious. And on the Facebook side, you know, that is much easier for me. I only post the videos there. There's a lot of pictures that you don't see. So that's why I'm like, you have to go on both of them, folks, to see everything all at once. Because there's some stuff that gets to the Will's Review page that you'll never see on Instagram as well. A lot, especially if you're more so like into the science, the sports, and the funny stuff. Like that's all on Will's Review. But yeah, like shout out to you guys. But our picture of the week, the picture of the week this week, I had to do it. I had a lot of stuff this week that could have qualified for this, but this particular one, I felt like after watching Shazam and giving DC so much love last week, I had to hit him right where it hurts. So we have a picture with Batman and Superman, like barely surviving a fight, and they're just like, "Oh my God, we almost beat Goku." And then Homeboy had to remind him, like, "That's not Goku, that's Yamcha." So, I had to post it because Goku, Goku over everything, since he's Goku, bro. Like, I had to do it. I can't show DC love without reminding them, like, I'm an otaku first. So, remember, your two heroes can't even beat Yamcha. All right. And it's true. They used to look exactly the same, except for like the cross on the face. Yeah. You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yamcha had a different hairstyle, but it was the same orange suit, black hair. A lot of people don't pay much attention sometimes. They just want to see the fights. Right. But now time for the reviews. The actual reason people are supposed to be watching this thing, right? So, first and foremost, we're going to start with our movie of the week, which is Hellboy, right? Now, Hellboy is a 3.5 out of 5 movie, as in it has a high entertainment value, but honestly not a lot of depth. However, what I will say is you can compare it to the past Hellboys that we have seen from years ago, and I think that is a big plus for the movie, is that it's completely different. The only thing about it is that we just saw a movie about King Arthur, and this movie went with the whole King Arthur feel. So it kind of just felt like, I literally just watched this. But it's a lot more graphic and gory than the other ones. At the same time that it seems to be darker in tone as far as itself, it's actually filmed in a way that makes it seem kind of like light-hearted and there's a bit of levity to it, a lot of humor. Like I said, the violence is cool, the CGI is great. I can't exactly say I preferred the Hellboy design this time around from the last one, because the fist just seemed a bit too oversized. But there's a lot of good in this movie. It's just that it feels rushed. The way that the movie is actually filmed, like this, if this was a 2-hour movie, I think you could enjoy it a lot better. But it's a 90-minute movie. I feel there's a lot that was cut out. I maybe the director's cut of this could be more entertaining because you get some of the depth that this movie is missing. All in all, I think that it's sitting in theaters. So, go do that. But don't go with the highest expectations. And it's a bit more comic accurate, just a bit more. So you can enjoy that if you're a super geeky fan. Other than that, a couple things to talk about. So What We Do is Shadows is something that I posted on the Will's Review page, I think about a week ago, and I got a chance to check it out. It's a new FX series. It's a comedy story about vampires and kind of like the lives that they lead in modern day society. It's done in a very office-style documentary filmed way. I think that you have to be a particular personality to enjoy this. Fortunately, I'm of that personality. And I find the humor kind of hits home. And so it's a great feel. They kind of mix in some stuff from like Interview with a Vampire. These guys are definitely very 1800s, trying to figure out the 2000s. They're on Staten Island of all places. Their boss vampire comes from across the land and is mad at them for not taking over America and all the nonsense. Like, it's really gimmicky. It's really funny. It's really cute. It's definitely an FX series by far. Those of you watch, Always Sunny, even The Strain. They have a very particular camera style. The show definitely follows that, even though it's supposed to be like a vampire office. It's really funny. I think it's really cute. Yeah, it's a straight comedy. I think if you like The Office, if you like Always Sunny, if you're a South Park fan, even if you watch Family Guy, I think this is a show that would hit home. It's better than Portlandia, in my opinion, because it's not as corny, but it is corny. I think that you can really enjoy the stupidity of this show. I really hope you give it a shot. I will say though, because it does take an eclectic type, that is why I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. If it wasn't for that factor, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. The only flaw in it is that it is corny. It's meant to be corny. Don't get me wrong, but like corny humor. After a while, you're just like, we get it. You're vampires. And sometimes you're like, he's a vampire and he did that. So it's really weird. It's weird how it hits, but it's a good show. It's a good, solid show. Also, something from Netflix I wanted to talk about. There's a show I've been kind of had on my queue for quite some time, and I really wanted to get back to watching it. But new movies, new shows, updates on season. So I finally got around to watching Man Like Mo Bean, and it's a short series about a Muslim man living in England, kind of trying to just get through life. It's a really, really good comedy. So one thing about British shows that I appreciate is the fact that they lack filter most of the time, right? They lack a lot of filter. So these guys are bringing up issues that hit home for both England and America in a very blunt way. Like episode 4, there's a guy, I think it's 4, where there's a guy who's like this really big, extremist talking about we need to get the Muslims out of our country, and Mobeen is a Muslim, and him get stuck in a van discussing all the issues, right? And it was so good about how he flipped every possible problem back on the guy. It's a really smart, intelligent comedy. They talk about the drugs use in the community, the no talk rule that the Muslims have that a lot of black folks here have, and it gives you a different perspective on a different culture. Both English life isn't exactly the same as American, and American life isn't universal anyway. You have your coastal regions having stuff similar, and even that is different from east to west coast. Central life is a bit different from state to state. It's interesting just to kind of get a feel of what it's like abroad. And at the same time, a lot of us in America, and most of the world, don't really understand the Muslim community at all. So anything that kind of opens or sheds a light on that is something I'm interested in personally. But because this is a comedy, it interests a lot of people. And these guys are, it's Mo Bean, his 2 slack-jawed friends, and they get themselves into trouble. Point blank, period. He's trying to be a father to his sister because of a situation with their parents and all that. It's just a really good show that I think anyone with a Netflix account, be it theirs that they pay for or theirs that they're borrowing, should watch. So, Man Like Mo Bean, definitely give it a watch. It is a 4 out of 5 series. The only thing is that sometimes some of the jokes don't, because there's that lack of culture. And there are times where you have to read, very, very brief, but read subtitles. They break off into their native tongue, either Bangladesh or Pakistan. But I'd still say it's definitely worth a watch. Now, there's another thing that's been popular lately on Netflix called The Trap, right? And The Trap is a movie with Mike Epps in it selling drugs. Point blank, period. They put drugs in chicken, and they turn this into a 90-minute movie. Now, despite me being able to simplify it to that degree, despite me not seeming to be a big fan of it, I am not a fan of the concept. I like Mike Epps. I like T.I. I like Lord of Divine. I like a lot of things about this movie. I even feel like the movie itself was entertaining. This movie is a 4 out of 5. I just think that it was really simple. I understand why nothing people have been talking about this movie past week, right? But at the same time, it's nothing but black people talking about this movie. This doesn't open up to a new audience. The biggest thing about this movie that opens up things is that maybe you can do a business like this in California. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Colorado, soon to be New York. Might be profitable, but I can tell you every time that I've had weed-infused food, hasn't been that great, except for chocolate. Weed chocolate was pretty nice. But all in all, I'm thinking this is gonna make the food taste bad. Maybe it's because it's deep fried chicken. You don't taste it that much; you just get the effect. I couldn't quite figure out the science of it, and that also bothered me because I know the lollipops I've tasted sometimes a little too strong. You lose the flavor, you just taste weed. Understand, weed is meant to be smoked, inhaled, whatever, but not exactly eaten. Doesn't taste right in food. You gotta have like the best chef, the smallest amount of weed. Like most of the time, people even use weed stuff. They drain it, take out the THC, put it in, and even then, it still has that weed taste. It's not that great, except for the chocolate, because chocolate's supposed to be a little bit bitter. Just saying. So, movie, as minus that concept part of it, I thought it was pretty good. I would give it a 4 out of 5, honestly, just because I understand. Like I said, but I feel like it's a 4 out of 5 because I'm black. No. In all seriousness, I don't, and it's not just because I'm black. I like the thing is it doesn't hit home the same way if you're not black. This is a black movie meant for black people talking about weed. Boom, weed and chicken. It doesn't get more black than that. Weed and chicken. Word, this is some spicy chicken. Thank you, Charles. Whole movie about some spicy chicken. That's what we're gonna call it, The Trap. Oh man, but yeah. Then another British movie to talk about that hit Netflix is Backfire. Now, Backfire is literally about two guys trying to get some quick money to pay their bills, and they essentially do something very the wrong person. And that person is looking out for revenge. So you see, now, like I said, there's a lot about stuff that I enjoy because it's very blunt, straightforward. 5 movies because it's very bland. Not to say it's bad. I will say, you know, give it a watch. But if it's on your queue list, it can wait. It is a solid movie to entertain you when there's nothing else to watch, but it's not exactly something that you should be driven to go and see. The acting isn't bad at all, which I can, you know, for a movie that's as low budget as it is, it's not bad at all. It's just literally like it feels like the pacing is weird. There's a lot of really corny comments by the mob, and you know, like you can get through it. It's solid. It's entertaining. It's just nothing special. And I was really hoping that it would be special. You know, when you see the cover art on your Netflix, it looks like it could be really dope. Then the awkward part of the movie starts off, and cover art show gang, and she's just looking around, and I'm like, is this a movie? Did I click the right thing? Did Netflix like just put? I was so confused for the first 5 minutes. I kept stopping, going back to double check, replaying, and you know, it was really bad because I was so confused. But yeah, you know, I'd say it's worth a watch. One thing I do say I love about movies like this is that we're not familiar with a lot of British actors here in the States, so it's nice to see some fresh faces, right? And like I said, the acting in this movie is not bad at all. So you see a lot of people who are new that you're gonna want to keep an eye out for. A lot of them may end up crossing over later. You never know, because we get a lot of black actors here in America that ain't black, they British. You know what I'm saying? So. And you'd be quite surprised. Like I don't know how many people still talk about the fact that they're shocked Idris Elba is not from America. I mean, it's been how many years now, and they still just like, but The Wire though. Shut up. What? Exactly. Then there's also something that came out a little while ago that I was gonna get to last week, and I skipped it. So Kevin Hart released a new stand-up act, and Walpy will tell you I'm not the biggest Kevin Hart fan. Just all in all, meh. But I will give this comedy a 5, and mostly because a lot of this is like a very raw, truthful performance and routine. I feel like he being honest with the audience. The jokes were landing. I can't really say I had a oh my god laughing till I could no longer breathe. My ribs hurt of during comedy routine. You see, like when I was talking about the like the Outcasts, the Misfits, comedy around the world, I get really excited. I can't do that with this comedy act, but I mean, good is good, and this was a very good routine. I did laugh throughout it. I did feel like it was very entertaining. I felt like this went beyond him just being 5'6". It was a good comedy show, a good comedy, special, and the mere fact that he called himself out on a lot of his bullcrap. I think for me, I can enjoy that. Like, every time a person is willing to actually look at their mistakes is a time where a person's actually bettering themselves. And I feel that someone like Kevin Hart being able to do that may help other people actually try and take an introspective look at themselves. Like actually look at why they are how they are, the things that they do. Because I feel like one thing missing from a lot of black people is accountability. We're very defensive about our actions. We try to be dismissive as to other people's opinions of them. And the fact that he made an entire routine that was about him kind of having to redeem himself, not necessarily in the public's eyes, but in his own personal life, to his wife, to his kids, even to himself. I commend him for doing that. And then to put it out there in the universe, even more so, like, that's a very ballsy move. And that's something that true comedians do. So, though I'm not a Kevin Hart fan, I have much respect for him and his craft at this point. So, shout out to Kevin Hart, and great show that you put on.
No. No.
Really?
He wasn't ready.
I wasn't.
He wasn't ready.
I really wasn't. No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, but I did. So definitely take a look if you haven't seen it. But there is one last one to get to, and I've been watching a lot of nonsense all week, and one thing that's been bugging me is the fact that I haven't talked about MTV shows in a while, actually, right? And normally I'm big on MTV shows, I really am, but I've been trying to be a loyal follower of the challenge. And I feel like more and more this becomes harder and harder to do because I care less and less about the cast. I would love if the challenge, what was that kids show, Adventure Island or something like that, where they had it was their parody version of Survivor. It came out in like 2008. I forget that show, but it was more like that, where it's just a recurring cast in a different scenario every time. This particular show, I'm feeling like this particular season, I don't really care for the Big Brother people. I don't care for the British people. They're irrelevant. So now they're entering this show in this game with all these people who have established relationships, who already hate each other for one or another, and then they're all playing together and don't care about the cast. It just makes the game seem like it doesn't seem like there's as much on the fact that there's even more money than ever. And they took on my boy Bananas mad fast. I like Bananas. He's an a-hole. So like this season of the challenge gets like a 2 out of 5. And only a 2 just because of the nostalgia factor. It's really bleh this year. A new show that started though, Warrior. Now this is a show all about Chinatown, right? So this isn't just Chinatown like down the block in Manhattan or even out in LA. This is about Chinatown back in the 1800s, right? Post Civil War, the Chinese are building the railroads, you know what I'm saying? And this is a story that was originally a concept of Bruce Lee's. So this is a Cinemax series called Warrior, and I am slowly but surely falling in love with the series. The main character is a guy just coming to America from China. He's trying to find somebody. You don't know who the person really. He's trying to find somebody, and he ends up in gang life in this Chinatown area, right? So they don't exactly get China here. They're building a railroad, and it's where the Chinese are from, right? The show starts off with somebody trying to get at him because he's trying to defend a worker, telling him like have respect for yourself. Don't listen to the white man running the train. And the white men try to come over at him. Man, he Bruce Lee's their joint. Like, and I say it like he Bruce Lee's him, not to be offensive or anything, but because he has all of Bruce Lee's swagger, right? And this isn't Bruce Lee movie that they're redoing. This is a Bruce Lee story that they're telling. So they made sure the main character has a bit of that swagger. He does a flick of the nose real quick, has a little finger thing going on, quick with the hands and the feet, very like whatever. Like, it's really good. The action sequences are awesome, but the storyline that's being developed is really good. There's a complexity to the mob families that exist, the different triad groups, the cops that are being formed. This is post-Civil War. One of the lead characters is from the South in the Northern Territory, trying to be a cop, and just immediately he's getting a bunch of angst for that, and all the stuff that's going on. Like, it's a really good show. It is. If the show, like, as of now, the first few episodes are out, I'm giving them a 5 out of 5. If it continues the same way, it's a 5 out of 5 series. You guys need to try and catch this. It's on Cinemax. I hardly ever even watch Cinemax. I don't even watch Skinemax because I'm too old for that, right? Softcore, who needs softcore? I have the internet. So, but this, I'm now watching Cinemax for this show right here, Warriors. So good. It looks dope, right? It looks dope. Enter the Badlands also came out. It's like part 2 of season 4. I don't know what officially it is because it depends on what kind of on-demand you have and how they list it. But it's coming back with a vengeance. The violence is already crazy. The storyline being developed is actually interesting again. Like, this show went on 2 seasons of kind of a lull where there's some bright moments, but it's a boring show. Now, this show is finally good from beginning to end again, like season 1. So if you weren't watching Into the Badlands, you fell off of it, get back on the train. I had to, like, force myself to get through the last 2 seasons myself, and it is now worth it. Like, I don't know what these shows are doing where this year everything is popping. This gets me so hyped for Game of Thrones tonight because I know it's going to be good. Like, folks, these shows, they must be watched. They have to be watched. Cinemax's Warrior, AMC's Into the Badlands, they need to be watched. And we got time for one more, Charles? We can keep going? All right. Well, then before we go, Cloak and Dagger, take a look. It is very good right now. Very artistic, very creative, very simple, all at the same time. 5 out of 5. But on that note, I got the whole like, yeah, I've just been letting you talk thing. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you go. You can catch that Game of Thrones because it's back tonight. I'll see you guys next time.
Excuse me, I'm next in line. Move. Excuse me, I'm next in line. Watch out. Excuse me, I'm next in line. I said move.